Hi, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Money Moves. Every episode, I go over some recent news, and in this one, I want to talk about the recent earnings season. Then I want to go over the recent technical picture for the S&P 500, which is giving a general direction for most stocks. Then I'll go over each of my investing accounts, starting with Worthy Bonds, GroundFloor, Fundrise, my M1 accounts, and finishing up my investments with my options portfolio. Then I'll go over my bi-weekly tracker. Of course, there will be some jelly at the end, which is something I enjoyed outside of the markets. If you have big dreams like owning the newly redesigned CT4 or CT5V Blackwing, or if you're just getting started on your financial journey, definitely like and subscribe. This car is definitely the ultimate sports sedan in my opinion, and you can't even get a reservation for them right now, as all pre-orders are sold out. The CT5V Blackwing is on sale for around $110,000. Welcome to the Portfolio Bulletin. Let's get started. Moving on to the article, I'm not sure why they use this headline saying that stocks are slipping. We're still at all-time highs, or just a few points off, at least for the S&Ps. And really what I want to highlight here is that earnings per share growth for Europe is around 107% year over year, and the US is at 63%. Meaning that this earnings season is setting out to be one of the best in history, which obviously makes sense. A lot of the big businesses that are benefiting from the lockdowns are now demonstrating that earnings per share that they've gained over the last year. They say the corporate earnings season is off to a high-flying start, with Europe demonstrating 13% growth and the US demonstrating 20% growth just this quarter. Earnings beats are also above average at around 74% and 83% above expectations. And to me, this is why it makes sense that the market is at all-time highs, because earnings continue to go up. We printed a lot of money, and businesses are benefiting from all of that money flowing in, because most of them were generally unaffected. The small businesses that were massively affected by the lockdowns are not the kind of companies that we're investing in. They do mention some correction concerns here in May, and I definitely think that that is a possibility. I will show here on the next chart why I think that is somewhat likely. Looking at the S&P 500 index on the monthly chart on the logarithmic scale, you can see we've been growing all the way since the lows here in 1942. And since then, it's been a gradual climb up. But really what I want to talk about here is the dot-com bubble, where we entered this top channel and found resistance at this level, and how recently we broke out of this channel that we were in, once again entering this top channel and seeing somewhat accelerating growth. You can see I had my original trend line here, which we were following, and then I had to draw a new trend line representing a topping formation here in April of 2022, around about a year from now based on the current trajectory. And zooming in even further here, you can see the close of the monthly candle, basically right at the top. We're not massively overextended the way that we were here in August, but there's definitely potential that we could see a red month, as we've seen 3 green months in a row, and pretty strong months at that. You can see this was kind of a hollow candle here in February. And going down to the weekly chart, you can see a little closer what this looks like, where we had a very strong push through that 4,070 level, and we're getting to be a little bit separated from the trend. Not quite as bad as we were here, but it's not unlikely that we'll see at least a retest of this level, currently sitting around 430, currently sitting around 4130. Moving over into my investments, I did sell my Worthy 2 Capital bonds and one of my Worthy Community bonds. They're currently still sold out, so maybe somebody was able to buy those, but they're still working on Worthy Community 2, and I did email them and inquire on why it's taking them so long, and basically they said the Rona is affecting the SEC approval process, not allowing people to buy new bonds because they're not approved to sell them yet. Otherwise, for me personally, I'm not trying to buy any more bonds. My bond holdings are pretty strong, and I'm continuing to buy stock. As I said previously, I still suspect we'll see a much higher high around a year from now. Moving over to GroundFloor, I do want to mention they did announce a partnership with Pad Split, and basically this is a home remodeling and home renovation company, and they're going to fund their projects through GroundFloor, which is allowing them to open up much more investment opportunities. And they indicate which properties are from this company right here. You can see their little Pad Split logo, which means that this particular investment is going to that company for this specific remodel. Looking at my investment holdings here, you can see I'm almost to that $4,000 level of total money invested, and I've gotten 4 loans paid back, returning 10%. You can see my actual returns here at just over $2, which were very quickly reinvested into new projects. I still haven't decided whether I will buy stock in this company or not yet, but it's still on my radar. And then you can see very little changes here, continuing to invest primarily in C&D notes. I also started being a little bit more particular in the notes that I invested in because there are so many more notes to invest in. And I'm generally focused on short-term notes with at least 10%, which I'll put $30 into. And if they're a little bit longer term, then I'll put $20 into them. That way I can be a little bit more diversified. Moving on to Fundrise, almost hitting that $35,000 mark, which is pretty cool. Staying on my normal contributions of $650 per month. And they continue to add various projects to my portfolio. Every time I add a little bit of money. We got a couple of paybacks here as well, roughly returning around 10%. Other new projects being completed, 7.2%. And then new projects being added here again to my portfolio. And then 8 more homes here on April 23rd in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I also hit 2 years at the end of April. And over that period, I've returned a little bit over $2,200. Moving over to my Retire account, you can see over the past month, gained a little bit over $500, just over 4%. And you can see I did add some money here. Primarily, this money is going into real estate, which did pretty well this last month, gaining over 5%. Tech is still the leader, and basically everything was up over the past month, which makes sense because we're still basically at all-time highs. Moving over into my higher yield savings account. Over the past month, up just over 2.5% with a gain of over $400. I've reduced all of my bond holdings here so that none of my new money from dividends goes into these portfolios, but they're all going into these dividend ETFs or value ETFs to ensure that I'm buying a little bit more stock here, but still pretty decent sized bond holding overall. I also don't plan to add any more money to this. Any money that I'm going to move into M1 is going to go into my Retire account, primarily, like I mentioned, which is primarily focused on real estate currently. Moving over to my Robinhood account in my options portfolio, you can see my gains have been pretty good over the past month. Past 3 months have been a little bit choppy, seeing highs here in February, but making new highs again here in April after a little bit of a dip. Otherwise, it's doing okay. You can see currently a little bit of a loss here in AMD. They always seem to get these colors backwards. The red here is actually profits and the green here is losses. So I'm down a little bit here on DraftKings, AMD, GE, Pinterest, and Palantir. Makes sense with Pinterest because they were down quite a bit after earnings, but I'm still very bullish on the stock. If you want to know a little bit more detail about my options portfolio, I do that video every other weekend that I'm not doing this video. So definitely hit the bell so you don't miss out on that. Looking at my Tastyworks portfolio, you can see I'm down a little bit now on my taxable account, but still doing well on my Roth IRA. This is because I'm trying some trading strategies out, and some of them didn't work out quite as well this week as they have been normally, but this is still very recoverable. You can see my current outstanding credits are around $6,500, which can easily make up for this in the next 2 months. Looking at my bi-weekly tracker, you can see we are still hitting all-time highs. My overall stock portfolio is almost to that $100,000. I have $8,000 left to go, which if the market continues to do what I think it will, I think I can hit this in the next few months, even if there is a sell-off in a little bit over a year from now. Otherwise, everything continues to go up except for bonds. Of course, Lending Club is down a little bit. Trading was down a little bit overall also. And then my cash is down to a level where I think this is where I want to keep it. I was a little bit too heavy in cash here previously, and this seems like a more healthy number. Overall, up 2% in the past 2 weeks. If you like any of these investment platforms, please use the links in the description, as it does help out my channel and help allow me to continue to make these videos. Otherwise, let me know down in the comment section what you think of the overall markets, as well as the current earnings season. Definitely like and subscribe if you got any value out of this video. I make this video every 2 weeks or so, usually around the 1st and the 15th. And like I mentioned, every weekend that I'm not doing that, I go over my options portfolio. I do individual stock reviews during the week. So definitely hit the bell so you don't miss out on any of that future content. Of course, none of this is financial advice. This is all for entertainment purposes. And with that, let's get to today's jelly. Today's jelly is Andre Antunes, and he likes to play metal music over random people talking, or in this case, one of the memes that's been out for a long time, and it just makes it that much more funny. So here's what that sounds like.
Ever had a dream that you had you could do so you want him to do you so much you could do anything?
He's done quite a few of these videos, and another one is focused around a pig snorting video, which is also hilarious. Comment down below what you think of this video. Definitely check out his channel if you thought this was funny. Definitely like and subscribe before you go, and have a great day.